Welcome to another episode of Driving to the Res with Larry and Inelia.
Kind of there.
Yeah.
I think last week was a bit better.
Kind of fell apart at the end there.
It did, yeah. I think it fell apart at the end there too.
Probably because we were doing it in the afternoon instead of the morning.
That's probably why not.
Yeah, that's totally... Could be why.
Why not?
Could have a reason. It reminds me of the stock market. They need a reason for it to go up and a reason for it to go down.
During the day?
Yeah, if you ever listen to stock market news.
Never.
I have in the past.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny because the market would go up or it would go down and they would attribute a reason to it.
Oh, got it.
Which, it's impossible to test. Because it went up and it went down.
Yes. All right.
Anyway, that's kind of fell apart at the end thing too.
We have a reason.
We do?
Yeah.
For what?
For why it fell apart in the end.
I think it's probably PB distracted us.
Blame it on
blame
something.
It on the dog. Gotta blame it on something.
Yeah.
I guess that's a normal human thing, huh?
Nope.
It's a programmed in new human thing?
Yeah, it's programmed in to disempower you.
Oh, so you don't take responsibility, it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah, then only somebody else can change and you can't. So
well, that's a relief. That means I'm already just fine. It's not my fault. I'm not going to fix it. Just got to wait for somebody else to fix it.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's the, actually that's fairly representative of, a lot of humans, isn't it?
Yes.
Good point. Good seeing.
Yeah. I think every single sleeper on the planet runs that program 100%.
It's convenient for that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it similar to the waiting for the savior type?
Oh,
thing?
yes. Yes.
Basically, don't do anything. Just wait. It'll get better in a little while because XYZ is coming. Like
hopism.
Oh, that's hopium.
Hopium.
Yeah.
I got the name wrong.
Yeah. The waiting for someone to come reminds me of something that's coming.
Yes, it's the same thing.
What is the same thing?
Blaming things.
Yeah, but waiting for something to come reminded me of something.
Oh, okay. Tell us what it reminds you of.
It reminds me of something is coming.
Okay.
But we're waiting for that something to come. But we know it's coming.
Uh-huh. What?
So, the other day, I was sitting there minding my P's and Q's.
Mm-hmm.
Probably eating something, because usually we do that at our
kitchen table.
Thank you, Fred and Dan. We made a beautiful couple of kitchen tables out of butcher blocks from Home Depot. Big ones.
They're beautiful. Those tables are beautiful. You guys did a great job.
And you found legs on the interwebs.
Yes, I did.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs. Mm-hmm. And we found some kind of clear stuff. Goopity goop. You just put on there and then you sand and you put on there your sand and you end up with a beautiful table for not very much dollars.
Mm.
Because I think we looked at those kind of tables and they were a lot of money.
Yeah. Plus none of them fitted quite exactly, but those ones do.
These ones are good height.
Yeah, they are perfect.
Yeah, so I'm slightly off the topic.
Yes, you are.
So what is coming? That's the topic, right?
You were sitting at the table.
I was sitting at the table, eating some P's and Q's.
Yes.
No, minding my P's and Q's and eating something.
Probably breakfast.
Z's.
Coffees.
No, it was evening.
Evening?
Probably a Ben & Jerry slice.
Oh, probably, yeah. Evening time snacks, yeah.
Yeah, a Ben & Jerry slice if you haven't had one. I highly recommend it. A Cherry Garcia.
Cherry Garcia used to be my favorite ice cream.
Yeah, so this is exactly how the evening went, right? See how these are, here's the topic, but I had to, dance around it?
Yes.
So I'm sitting there minding my P's and Q's, eating my R and S's, my slices, and you said something along the lines of, something I could never mind.
I do that sometimes.
And I was like, never
what
mind.
Now?
Now it's too late. You've opened that can of worms. What is it? She's like, no, I can't tell you.
I can't
Why
say.
can't you?
I said I can't say. I didn't say I can't tell you. I said I can't say.
She said she can't say because she did this. She went, okay, it's a but, and then it stopped. She said, let me try again. If it's always, you got like 6 words in a row. He's like, so pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then it'd stick. Then you figured out a trick.
Oh, I figured this trick out years ago.
So
Whenever
this trick has to do with when you're not allowed to say, or why is it that you couldn't say?
Yeah, because sometimes information is like locked into the human collective's consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very need to know basis type thing.
Right.
And not many people need to know it, one. But also sometimes it's classified as
keep it to yourself-ums?
Yeah, keep it to yourself, or it's best that they don't know, or we don't know, or it's best that it's best to share only when people ask type energy.
So I think it was the entirety of the story was that, but the beginning of the story, the beginning part of it, the part up to the very end, some of the data, I guess, was the part that didn't need to come out. But the other part was fine to talk about, right?
Once it's out, then it gets easier every time you share it, because it's already out into the collective, into the physical world. And then it's like the path has already been cut into the physical world, so that every time after that you share it, it's easier to share.
Right. Cause
the trick is to go around it, to put different points, not tie them together, and the person has to come to their own conclusion type thing.
Yeah, they have to figure it out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Here's data point 1. Here's a data point 2. Here's a data point 3. Here's a data point 4.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a table. Here's a Cherry Garcia slice. Here's a blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of it, you put the picture together in your head and reached your own conclusion.
Right.
And when you express it that way, then it's easy, or it's possible for you to talk. Well, funny thing enough, you started talking, you said, oh, wait a minute, I know how to do this. And then I started to get really sleepy.
Yeah, you started nodding off.
You were talking. You said like 10 words, and my brain got a bit mushy, a little bit like oatmeal.
Yeah.
And my eyes got tired. And I was listening to you and trying not to nod off at the same time as you were talking. And I was like, oh, I know what that is too.
Yes.
This is good. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. So here's what I did actually. I picked up a pen. I said, okay.
We have a whiteboard on the side of the table.
We have a whiteboard next to the table for remembering things that I need to do. Like, take out the trash. Like,
phone numbers.
I'm not going to say we put our passwords on that. Because that would be dumb, right?
That would be really dumb, yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that.
He does do that.
He does do that. It's the easiest place to remember where they are. So if you happen to come over, don't look at the board.
Yeah.
Because you'll see our passwords. Maybe we should move those now.
Yes, you need to move them now. Did you forget what you were talking about, honey?
That's exactly how it works. See how that works?
Yeah.
So this is obviously one of those topics. So if you happen to be listening and you start getting sleepy, maybe start writing it down if you really, really, really want to remember. And if it has no effect on you whatsoever,
Brilliant. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So sometime in June-ish, actually I think the way that, can you remember how it started? You said a word and then I'd write the sentence down. That'd be like a sentence.
So the way we can share it is through little different pieces.
Pieces.
Right, yeah. So the first piece would be, do you remember?
You erased it, honey.
Oh.
There's no chance I could ever remember it, except for one of our friends did take pictures.
Yes.
So I have a route back to it.
Right.
I have not a hope in hell of it right now.
Okay. Okay,
so let's
first
do it
of all,
again.
when we start talking about these things, it's very easy to fall into the victim-aggressor cycle and start blaming people and things and not taking responsibility, blaming PB and, all sorts of things, right? That's the first thing when we start talking about these kind of items and topics
and why they're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first thing to remember is don't fall into the victim-aggressor thing. Remember that we as a human collective have orchestrated everything that's happening on the planet right now. Okay. Remember that everybody who's leaving the planet is doing through a higher self choice. And that when we decided on the split, it was chosen to be a very gentle, delicate, and free will choice.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So that's the first part.
The first part is to remember that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't blame the dog.
Don't blame the dog.
Got it.
Don't blame the government.
Don't blame the government.
Don't blame the shadow government.
Don't blame the shadow government. Don't blame the germs.
Or viruses.
Yeah. Or don't blame the aliens.
Right. Yeah, now we're getting closer.
So everyone knows there's multiple narratives that are in play and going to be coming into play.
Now, the second part of this is the warning. This is extreme woo-woo. Okay? Extreme woo-woo.
This is the kind of woo-woo. I don't know. Some people reserve it as extreme, and some people say well, of course.
So part of the of course is that it has been published and recognized, and it's in books about how to take over the world, the one world government and things. And it has been already released as information of this is the methodology that these individuals are going to use to take over the world, taking everybody's rights away and all that type of stuff.
Mostly through fear programs,
Yep.
You're afraid of mostly invisible things that you can't change or
terrorists
alter.
that you can never see.
Terrorists that you can't
then it's
find.
a virus, and then
viruses.
And then there is the
Russians.
No, you can see the Russians. That was way, way before viruses and
First
terrorists.
It was the Russians, then it was terrorists, then it was
China,
and then China viruses, then Ebolas, and etc. It's there's always something to be afraid of. If you don't have something to be afraid of, then it's kind of hard to control you.
Yes.
So it's a terror-y thing or a scary thing that you cannot touch, see, verify, really.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, do you remember when? I remember when the Russians were oh my God, the Russians going to get us?
Yes,
That was when I was in high school and when I was in the Coast Guard a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The craziest thing happened.
You met some Russians.
We were on our giant Coast Guard ship. It wasn't that giant, 200-footer. And we went to a festival, giant festival, and a giant Russian ship, sailing training ship, was there. For, I don't know why they were there. They were just there. They were sailing around the world and they come in to hang out. And it was a government ship. I guess, I don't know how the government works there or the ships work there, but there was a bunch of cadets on it. Mm-hmm. And they had books and they had their little, remember the Soviet hats, and they had this symbol on the top in the middle of their heads, is this gold thing with a little red star in the middle type of stuff. Yeah. And they were supposed to be the bad guys, and then we went and we met them at the festival.
Uh-huh.
Guess what?
They were human.
They were just people, just regular old
just
people.
Kids.
Yeah, and they were the same age as we were. They were 20, 18, 19. And their uniforms that looked so oh my God, scary perfect. It was just a tiny tin little badge. It was literally a 2-cent thing you would see in, Cracker Jack box or something. Mm-hmm. That was that big, huge, scary symbol in the middle of the hat, And we were trading for, here, I'll trade you this. You can have my little thing off of my arm for your little thing off your arm, And we had a great time and a great visit. And it was the spell of their mystery. You can't get there. And that's part of why I think you can't travel between. Mm-hmm. When you can't travel, those others become a mystery that you cannot verify what they say.
Exactly. You can't verify what they're existing, what's happening in their country. You can't verify anything.
Yeah, but once we met them, we're geez, you're just guys, same as us. Yeah. And you're not really weird. You don't really hate us.
And brothers and sisters.
You actually don't hate us or hate the way we live or who we look at or you don't hate any of it. Yeah. You're want to trade your stuff for some of our stuff. Yeah. And we want your stuff for their stuff. Yeah, it was kind of funny. So, same story with the next invisible quote-unquote enemy is we've been programmed to see them, the aliens, right?
Right. So.
Right. Aliens, extraterrestrials,
And when we gave our look at 2021 video, we talked a little bit about some of the fear waves that might be used this year one of them was, there's death waves as well of people dying from the vaccine and things. And the first wave is invisible, it's been scrubbed. Nobody can perceive it, but everybody now knows somebody who's died, but coincidentally after they got vaccinated. Right?
Pretty much everybody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of people.
It's a accident.
Yeah, it's a accident. Anyways, apart from that, there's going to be another wave of deaths around the planet, and this time they're going to blame it on another COVID-21. Right, so that's pretty standard.
Yeah, that's standard practice. Anybody could guess that. I think I've read it plenty of places.
Mm-hmm. And then they're going to do another one. So this other one is the one that was getting a really hard time trying to bring forth, because they've talked about it and they've timed it really, really well, this wave of fear. Because there's some other things. What's happening with the virus and society and work and people staying at home and all that type of stuff and masking, it's not the only thing that's happening in the universe. Okay?
Right. The programmed response, the response that side pushing that narrative, really, that's not the only game in town.
No, that's not the only game in town. That's not the only thing that's happening to our society and our people. As a people, we decided on this split. We also decided on an extreme amount of expansion of awareness, both at a singular level, at a collective level, but also technological level. And the second part of this, the second bit of information that you put together, right, is that on these books that they've released, the plans that have been released about how they're going to control everybody on the planet, these shadow governments, one aspect of it is, so after, make sure the enemies are as invisible as possible, because those are the most scary, and you can be fighting them forever because you can never see that you won, right?
Totally true.
Like terrorists and viruses.
Viruses forever.
Yeah. And then they said, and the last one we're going to use is ETs. Yep. Extraterrestrials.
Alien threat.
But for that to work, there's several things that need to be in place. And one of them is that, for example, the vocabulary around UFOs is being changed by so-called alternative media people. And also by government officials. Instead of calling them UFOs, they have another name for them, visual something, but also...
Unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs.
UAPs?
Yeah.
Unidentified
aerial phenomena. Also unidentified aerial threats.
Okay, so that's the words that are coming in, the threat one. And that's a part of their, plan, orchestration to create this feeling of an invisible, not so invisible enemy that we cannot defeat, and that we need protection from the government to be able to survive, right? So,
remember Independence Day, the movie, when the aliens showed up in the sky, and then they had welcome to Earth parties on top of the buildings, and what happened?
They got zapped.
They got obliterated first.
We have had movies.
I mean, it was a great movie, but that was a terrible scene.
We have
obviously set to program us right.
Yes, we've had movies about ETs deleting everybody on the planet for decades and decades and decades now from Hollywood. We've had books. The most popular ones do that also.
Or the World's Thing, that radio show.
Yeah. And so that's ways to program the human collective to believe this. Now it's completely, I have to tell you, it's completely illogical. Okay, it's completely and utterly illogical, because these other species or other planetary people have been coming to Earth for hundreds or even thousands of years. They've been here for thousands and thousands of years. They've been in touch with people here. They've put us here for thousands and thousands of years. And their technology is such that if they wanted to delete us, we wouldn't exist now. Because they've had that technology. It's not like they're arriving today for the first time. They've had that technology and they've known this, and they have been able to delete us if they wanted to for thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of years on the planet. So that's the first illogical part of it. But logic has nothing to do with anything when it comes to the mass fear and creating mass fear. Logic goes out the window, as we have seen.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter what scientific things actually are. It doesn't matter what logic is. If fear comes in through the government, through the media, it's given, it's taken.
Is that why you created a fear processing exercise as the most important, the thing?
Most important, and it's free on my website, yes.
And it's free on your website?
And it has been used and downloaded for over 8 million people, so.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Anyways. So going back to that point about the ETs, the waves that we talked about on our view of 2021, I said it's very possible they're going to use the ET equation for one of the waves of fear and of deleting people, by their own choice, right? People are getting deleted by their own choice. They're getting vaccinated by their own choice. And they have to do a lot of work to get it done, right? Get on lists and make appointments and drive themselves there and, oh my God,
and go twice.
Go twice, yeah. It's a lot of loops to get that free will choice done. So nobody can have it by accident, okay? That doesn't want it. Anyways, going back to the ET equation, one of the waves that I was looking at and thinking, how are they going to use it, This is really interesting because I know that on the ET side of things, we are at a technological and awareness level, those people who are awake, that where the prime directive aspect of it, I don't know if you watched Star Trek, but they have something called the prime directive that's very, very close to the real prime directive of the universe, which is don't get in direct contact with people or species that are not, they can't travel through the universe or are not a certain frequency, actually, is more accurate. In the series, they haven't developed space travel.
Warp travel. Pre-warp.
Yeah. Pre-warp, yeah. So, in real life, it's more to do with frequency, expansion of awareness, and technological advancement. It's a combination. Anyways, so first contact then comes in.
Plus, I think the thought in Star Trek was to protect the people.
No, it's to protect
the truth
people outside the planet.
It's to protect everyone outside the planet from them.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
No.
Right.
So, what were we talking about?
I don't know. I think it was P's and Q's. We were minding our P's and Q's. The aliens.
Yeah, so the first contact is another aspect of...
Guess
yes,
what?
I know.
I
know.
You watched.
Yes.
You went right.
Yes, I did.
Clink, got it.
Yes, got it. Do you want to explain?
Well, we were having lunch and we were watching 12 Reasons to XYZ Your Yorkie.
Uh-huh.
And in between there was ads because I can't pay YouTube. I just can't do it. So I have to wait 5 seconds between my videos. And in the video it shows the very next, Star Trek is First Contact. And it starts May.
Yes. Anyways.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I've been talking about First Contact for a few weeks now.
Yes.
And for the ET civilizations that are coming into Earth, we talked about a few months ago about some flotillas off the coast of several countries.
Yeah.
And they were waiting.
Hundreds of ships.
They're waiting. And then the First Contact aspect of ETs comes in different forms. When you raise your frequency to a certain degree and level, you can have telepathic communication with these individuals, with these individual races. And the ones that you get in touch with are usually related to your soul or your physical body elemental.
Because they're your family members.
Mm-hmm. So that's the first contact. They come in waves. After that, there will be a visual contact. So, and
there was an April Fool's one today that's going around, and it looked very right.
It looked
really. I mean, it was a trick.
Yeah.
It was April Fool's, but the imagery, the picture,
It's
it was
very
like
accurate,
very
yeah.
accurate to what you're going to be seeing.
Yeah. So before we go there, before we go into the first directive, we have to talk about the representation on giving away of your power.
Oh, yeah, the going of that part. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a tricky bit. I mean, that turns, funnily enough, it turns a thing that you go like, arg, 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 into, hey, that's pretty convenient that it worked out that way, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the giving away of your power happens.
The prime directive
yes.
happens
Right.
at a planetary level too.
Yes.
So if the first contact or the contact with the planet needs to go to who represents you?
The planet.
Who represents the planet.
Yes.
And in the case of right now, the planet is represented by who holds the United States government-ish.
Yeah.
But, you can basically
Let's
test
say why, though.
this. Why?
Let's say why. Yeah. Do you remember why?
Because there's McDonald's everywhere.
Right.
Because
So
there's Coke everywhere. Because there's Pepsi everywhere. Because everything that's here is everywhere.
So, the way in which we energetically give our power away is through voting. Okay? When you vote, you're signing your name for somebody else to make decisions for you about your life.
In your
behalf. Yeah?
Yes.
That's what literally you're doing. You're giving away your power to another person to represent you. They don't even hide it. They call it your representative.
Right.
Right? They don't hide it. It's never been hidden. And that person now represents you, can take decisions for you. And the system is like that. So even if you vote for one person but somebody else wins, because you subscribe to the system, you're still being represented by that person whom you didn't vote in.
Right. So voting means whoever wins, I give you my power.
Yes.
And the one I voted for, I quote unquote hope wins, but either way, whichever the winner is, that one has me.
Yes.
That one is me, and you represent me to anyone who happens to come.
Anything and everything, yeah. So with that system in place, when the first contact was happening for the planet many, many decades ago, certain individuals and governments said, hey, we represent the people of Earth, and here's our proof. They come out every 4 years and vote for us. And therefore, you talk to us. Here's their signature. Here's their energetically, we represent them. So that's why people say, how come they don't come to everybody? That's why, right?
Yeah.
Now,
makes sense, right?
With regards to who rules the planet, everybody around the planet, most countries around the planet have given their power away to the United States, either financially through deals, through deals and things like that, or by
the banking system,
by absorbing their American culture, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and all the other products, and the American dream and everything else, right?
Yep.
All that stuff around the planet is being absorbed, and therefore it kind of energetically gives the power away to the United States as the rulers of the planet. So
it kind of reminds me of the energy of the cathedral.
Yes.
It's you're not there and you're in somewhere else, and you look and you see that McDonald's or that Pepsi or that Coca-Cola is that American dream thing, and it's kind of like the scary Russians, but it's the opposite.
Yeah. So yeah.
I guess I see how that energy line, that's
right. And it's not a country thing. People think it's like a government of the United States, but actually it isn't.
Right.
It's ruled and paid for by people from all over the world, including the Vatican, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're in cahoots, right? They're like a group of individuals, and people give them different names and stuff, who rule the world by you giving away your power by voting them in. So this part of it is very interesting because at the moment, the United States is actually not being governed by the voting system.
Because we have a pretendency now.
Right.
Instead of a president, a pretendant.
It's a pretendency, yeah. So this is energetically a very interesting aspect of giving away your power. You gave away your power to a system that didn't come to power. Okay, so you voted, but that vote didn't go...
was illegitimate.
Didn't go to where you... to the system that is in power right now.
Right,
So
you voted for one thing, and another thing came.
Yes.
Another thing's there. It's not legitimate Or it's
You voted
not,
in one system,
right?
but a different system took power.
Got it.
You got it?
Right. So it's illegitimate.
Correct. Which means, actually, that
It doesn't hold authority, right?
it doesn't hold authority. Your authority, you give it and it's somewhere else. Somebody else is keeping that authority. And it's not being used to govern. I know, it's slightly complicated.
It's a really good loophole, right?
So,
on the one hand, you're like, oh, those dirty, rotten stinkers. On the other hand, like, oh, well, that creates an interesting opportunity, doesn't
well,
it?
the whole rotten stinkers is irrelevant because the whole voting system has always been rigged. Always. Always. But they used to use the same system, the system that you voted into. This time, they're using a different system.
Got it.
Right. Which is
I don't got it, but I got it.
Okay. So, what does that mean? It means that as first contact, these people from other planets and other dimensions, they're no longer required to contact the people who you signed to represent you because those people are not to be found. They're not there to represent you. Do you see?
So nice.
So now, you're free to contact and be contacted by these people from outer space yourself. And how does that happen at a global level? First of all, it's telepathic. Like I said, that's why so many people are channeling ETs or having contact with ETs. There's people who get together and by telepathy bring in visual contact, which is normal and correct because after telepathy comes visual. First contact is visual. You see vessels and ships and beings with your own eyes. That's the normal route that it takes.
So we should start, I suppose, raising our frequency, right?
Yeah, and we are releasing a challenge
of
raising your frequency, a video, an audio, and a newsletter. We're releasing that so that people can take that challenge of raising their frequency. We're facilitating that.
That's a good idea.
So look out for that.
Quite perfectly timed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to get to that, but yeah. Why? Why is it now?
Why is it
because
now?
that's our response.
So
but let's finish the story first, though.
Okay, I wasn't trying to skip around. I just got lost.
Got a little bit lost. I hope you're the only person.
I think we're going to have to start over.
Oh no! So after that is settled. No. Okay, that's all settled, right? All those data points are settled.
So one of the data points was the government of the United States, which had taken over authority of representing the people of the planet, is no longer legitimate, and the non-terrestrials are not beholden to that first contact or prime directive type thing with that representative government because it doesn't exist.
Correct.
Nice.
It hasn't been put together, so it doesn't exist yet.
So it opened the door to a different kind of contact.
Yeah. So the visual contact has been happening to groups and individuals and representatives that we put there in the government or whatever. Mm-hmm. However, now it's going to start happening at a global scale. Now, it is true also that there are UFOs which are human, reversed engineered ships.
Right.
This is true. So this is part of what they're going to use to put the fear of the ETs into the human collective. It's going to be the human ships. But also they're going to do something else, it appears, or there's a plan to do something else. Now, as we're talking about it, it might not work, but if it does work and you're in the middle of it, know that it's part of the choice that people made to leave the planet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And don't despair, don't fall into fear. You're not going to be hurt by any ET.
Don't believe what you were hearing.
Right. On the news and the media
and seeing even with your own eyes, like...
Don't believe the
narrative.
Threats.
It's like the A to the B doesn't make it to the C.
Exactly.
Just because you see A, just because you see B, doesn't mean that it's because of A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something like that.
It's something about causation and correlation.
Yeah. So, what I saw that they could use to use the ET equation. Remember we talked about the waves. The first wave of death is being scrubbed. It's invisible, right? Because they want more and more people to get vaccinated. And if they release the numbers of people who get extremely sick or die very soon after vaccination, then people are going to stop vaccinating. So they have to scrub that. They have to make that one invisible.
I did hear on the news that nobody has.
Yeah.
0.
Right.
It's actually 0.
Okay.
And it's 100% effective.
Okay. Right. We have heard that, but we all know now people who have died just after getting vaccinated.
But it wasn't because of the vaccine, honey.
Of course, it's coincidental. Vaccinantal.
It was a accident.
Vaccinant. Okay, so that's part of the invisible wave, and then there's going to be a wave called COVID-21.
Yeah, which is what do they call it? A new variant,
right.
or it mutated, or whatever.
And there's several things that are happening. One of them is people are getting sucked in because of things that we talked about before, and people are actually saying it now, you know. So there's going to be the Lightworkers alternative media being hit with things that are going to convince people to get vaccinated, such as you're going to need it for passports. Or to get
the
food.
vaccine passport.
Yeah.
If you want to go buy food, you have to have your paper. Mm-hmm. You want to buy things, and then, all that stuff.
So all those things. And
even the threat of it isn't enough. Just, you might. Seems to be enough to get people to go for it.
Yeah. And then another one that's being worked is that the actual vaccines are really bad. You're going to need another vaccine to cure you from these vaccines.
From the effect of that one.
Yeah. Or boost your immunity or whatever.
Or protect you from the ones who got it.
Yeah, it could be vitamin. I don't know what they're going to call it, but they're going to sell it really very thoroughly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are going to fall for that one. Now, the ET equation, that's really fascinating to me, because the way that I see they might use it is when the first contact for a global scale becomes visual, you're going to start seeing ships and UFOs more and more regularly and more visibly. So they're going to be above cities, and they're not going to be like, you can't ignore them.
You can't ignore it. You can't pretend it ain't there. You can't say, oh, I didn't have time when I made it out there. They're gone.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll see it on the news, or you'll hear it on your text, or you'll get it some kind of alert.
Yeah.
And then you'll walk outside and you'll look up and, oh, they're right there, still
you'll
there.
You'll see it in social media because...
In social media.
Yeah. You're going to see it in social media because that's one of the aspects that are needed for that first contact. A non-centralized media system where it cannot be scrubbed or deleted, because they've tried to do it in the past and it just gets deleted.
Yeah, they're good at deleting lately.
Yeah. So now they just go through the mass media, and people with their phones, they take the pictures and they post them on all their social media. So when there's 10,000 or 100,000 videos of a UFO flotilla going over Phoenix, for example, this time, it can't be scrubbed. It can't be forgotten.
And it'll be another city and another city and another city and another city.
Yes. So one of the things that I perceive that can be used is some of these, when these come out, to be visually our first contact, until it becomes so common that we go, oh yeah, they're there again, and then the next wave of first contact comes along, right? They start landing. But before they start landing, they just fly and we can see them. It's a visual first contact. And when that happens, the shadow government, there's a couple of things that they can do to use that to form extreme fear among the masses. One of them is to use the reverse engineered ships and actually shoot people and cities with them as that happens. The other part of it, which is more insidious, is as the flotillas go over a city, they will activate all their technology that they have, and you can find them in the patented pages of patent websites and things.
They have plenty of technologies.
They have plenty of technology.
To turn up the atmosphere, crank up the deaths.
So as the flotillas are going over a city, they will turn all this technology, 5G maybe, HARP maybe, whatever it is, nanoparticles that are in people's bodies right now, the vaccines and all of that creates a soup that when they activate that technology, people drop dead. I'm sure everybody here has heard about this mysterious mass deaths of certain birds, just one type of bird, or a whole state full of cows, or other types of animals that suddenly all drop dead, right? Mm-hmm. That happened 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, it started happening. Everybody's heard about that, right?
I have heard about it, yeah.
So
it's a big mystery.
They're genetically marked. You can genetically mark a whole species and delete it, basically, in an area with this technology. So I'm thinking one of the ways in which I think they're going to use it is like that. They're going to go over a certain area and they're going to target those genetic markers and the DNA, whatever that they've put into the vaccines. They're going to hit those areas and those people are going to die. Okay. So like that. That's how it feels.
If you see the lights, you're going to die, kind of a thing.
Right. So if you're in one of those areas, don't worry. You haven't been vaccinated. You're going to be perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. And know that the whole fear thing and the whole aerial threat and alien invasion and killing our people and all that is a lie. It's a lie. It's a false flag. Don't believe it.
What can you do instead of believing that garbage?
So here's the response. And yeah, it's one of these things that you start now. Okay. Don't leave it till the last second.
Don't wait until
it starts happening.
Okay.
You do it now. And that is you raise your frequency. You raise your body's frequency and you raise your soul frequency every single day. You spend about an hour doing it. And that's what the challenge we're going to send out. We're going to do a video to show you how to do it. Or you can, if you know how to do it already, that's fine.
That's
perfect.
Fine. Just
start right now.
A lot of people hear the word raise your frequency and they think, okay, where's my knob? Turn it up?
I hope no British people heard that.
Oh. Was that an Americanism? American faux pas? Yes. British faux pas? I'm not going to go further with that. I'm just going to drop it. I got my foot in and I'm just going to pull it right out.
Okay. So once again.
Now I can't think of anything about raising my frequency without thinking about other things. Does that work?
No. Okay. We're going to do a video to help people how to do it.
We're going to do a video now?
There will be no knobs in it, okay?
No, not a knobby video. Thank goodness. Gosh. I didn't know if I was going to, show up for this video shoot.
Okay.
Okay. Honey, I'm red.
Yes.
Okay.
I was blushing. Okay.
My foot's out of it.
Yes, perfect.
So
let's go back to aliens.
Okay, and aliens, and what you can do instead of the fear bit. Because it's going to be easy to fall into that because you're going to see things. You're going to go like, wow, look, that happened and this happened. So, of course, it's because of that.
Right.
But if you have your frequency raised, what will happen instead?
Well, you will not fall into fear.
Yeah, that's obvious, right?
And then you're not vulnerable to that type of
technology. Because it's an amplification of a fear.
Yeah.
Frequency.
So the fear frequency technology, this is a different technology, but there is a artificial fear amplifying technology on the planet right now. And for you to identify whether it's being used in your area, you get a really hot feeling just at the base of your neck, between the base of your neck and the back and the shoulder blades. Between there, you get a really hot feeling, like a burny feeling. It's burning.
Okay.
And that is that technology. And usually people don't become aware of that. They just feel the fear. And they go, oh no, what's going on? Why am I afraid, right? Something's going to happen.
Yeah, or like a tiger stalking you.
Mm-hmm. So if you feel that hotness area there, or burning feeling there, then you know that your area, your geographical area is being targeted with one of these technologies. Oh. And again, you can find all this technology on the internet, on their the pattern websites. It's not like it's even secret. It's not even secret.
No, it's not secret at all. If you want to find it, you can find it. Mm-hmm. It's not hard.
Not hard. Mm-mm. So that's the stuff that we have.
But there's an open communication channel with your frequency raised between you and those lights.
Yes.
which is more of a direct to your own observation. Instead of you seeing this, lights in the sky, seeing on the ground a bunch of dead people, and hearing on the news or Facebook or whatever, InfoWars or whoever, I don't know who will be talking, right? That it's because of that, those ships have been dropping things and it's making people sick. You'll have made direct contact yourself, and like they will be making contact with you, and you will know who they are and what they are and why they're there.
Exactly, yeah.
You'll be getting your information first hand.
Yes.
And so, obviously, it's going to contradict the other information. Who are you going to believe?
Right.
I wonder who you're going to believe.
Yeah, so it's really hard to talk about these things, because our physical bodies get traumatized just talking about it. We get very sad, and, it's like, this is the split, and was not going to be hard and painful. It's not going to be, we're making it as easy as possible by making people make their own decisions, and making the transition as easy as possible and most supportive as possible, right? For everyone concerned.
Yep.
This was our choice as a human collective, that we decided this. There's no other. There's just us.
Yeah, I suppose it's the facts of life. Separation is a bit painful. When you leave your puppy, or you leave your wife, or you leave your kids, or you leave your loved ones, or you leave your city, or you leave your hometown, or you leave your anything, right? There's, small amount of pain and longing that goes associated with that. Like when the Lemurian collective we made contact with them a couple of years ago, and they described this time and what it would be like, and they described their own experience of a split, right? And how that felt and how that was for them. And you had your own experience of the energetic split in 2010 or 11, or when that was? 2011, where you're pulled out of the matrix. So, we've had plenty of here's how it is and time to adjust to the whole idea.
Yeah.
It's not painless, but the higher perspective, the expanded perspective helps some a bit. It helps a lot. It helps me a lot to know that it's not a final thing, first of all. It's a fork in the road type of thing.
Yeah.
Some are turning left, some are turning right.
Yeah.
And the road comes back together somewhere.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
This existence is not our only existence.
Right.
We don't just exist on this platform.
But part of the reason that we, who are listening to this, do exist here and now is for this very thing.
Yeah. To this moment, to raise your frequency. And another point I think we talked about last week or the week before was about the wave of suicides, and also the energy of suicide on the planet, and not to hear it, not to heed it. Not to think it's yours.
Yes, totally.
So people are having random thoughts about suicide, or giving up, or why am I here? I don't want to live through this. Right? And that's not your thoughts. Those are not your thoughts. Those are being put out there on purpose. And they're very powerful right now because people are desperately lonely and separated because they've separated themselves, and now a lot of people are dying. And even if they don't know it yet, their physical bodies know it. And a lot of people are in physical pain because of the side effects of the vaccinations. So, yeah, and a lot of people are mourning the deaths are happening all around them. It's like, yeah, don't go on suicide. It's not the time. This is the opposite of the time. This is when you stay here. This is when you work at what you came here to do. This is when you raise your frequency and be that part that helps
others to see too.
Yeah. Helps us to make that split. The dark side is doing and using and working diligently every single day to lower the frequency of themselves, right? Of themselves. We need to do the opposite. We need to work diligently every day to raise our own frequency. We need to do our part of it, our part of the split, which is to raise our frequency. And that's what people are here. That's why I don't want to hear about you trying to commit suicide. I don't want to hear that you're thinking about it, because you're going to drop that thought. You're going to know that thought's not yours, and you're not going to commit suicide, period.
That includes going to get the shot.
Right.
Because everybody else is.
Yeah.
And you
or
don't
because you need a
them.
passport, or because whatever.
Because you might need a passport to travel.
Or because you're so high frequency it's not going to affect you. That's
Or you're
bullshit.
so high frequency it ain't going to hurt you. Drop it.
Drop it. You know why you're here. So, do that instead.
Okay.
Anyways.
That was a roundabout whirlwind.
I hope you remember some of it.
Basically, I would like to tick it. There's waves of things coming.
Yes.
One of the waves that's coming, besides the ones we've talked about before, is alien ships showing up.
Yes.
To prepare for that, raise your frequency every day for 1 hour.
At least.
Minimum.
Hopefully 24.
Hopefully 24. Just keep it high.
Yes.
So to help
keep it high. Keep it raising.
Keep it raising. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it raising means it's a continuous acceleration.
Yes.
A continuous faster, higher.
Yes.
Not at a certain number and stay there.
No.
Just keep going higher and higher. Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to help with that, you're going to create a video and a blog or a talk and what else?
Like the video is going to be released as a video and an audio and a newsletter.
Audio and a newsletter. Okay, so there'll be a video, an audio, and a newsletter to assist you.
Subscribe to the newsletter if you haven't.
Right. And use the tool. And once you see the tool, once you see how it's done, if there's other ways that work the same for you or better, go for it. Use them. But the key is to raise your frequency. IneliaBenz.com. Right? Talk with me now, walk with me now. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Also, if you want to share your experiences with other people, because lone wolf time's over.
Oh, absolutely. Anybody who drops back into lone wolf, they're going to be fighting their suicidal thoughts right now. So don't go into lone wolf. Don't do that.
That's why you find your tribe.
You have to find your tribe right now. Go to walk with me now if you haven't.
Okay. And so anyway, the ships will be showing up in the skies.
And the Telegram channel Inelia Benz as well.
Yeah, Telegram channel is really handy. That's the best. I love that. So anyway, the ships will be in the skies, and if your frequency has been raising and raising and raising, you're like a little shiny light bulb. And no matter what maybe people say around you, you'll have a direct communication capability. So it will help a lot.
Yes.
Good marching orders. Good purpose. Purposeful, solution-oriented. What do I do? What do I do? Oh, I know what. Raise your frequency. Actively. All right. I think I got it.
Perfect.
Do you feel complete?
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you, too. I love you, honey.
I love you, too.